All right, let's talk about a crucial skill, one that really separates the good leaders from the truly great ones. It's the ability to explain complex ideas simply. And look, this isn't about dumbing things down, not at all. It's a leadership superpower. It signals true mastery.
So, let me ask you this. Have you ever had that moment where you've poured everything you have into a proposal? It's got all the data, all the research, and you present it to leadership, only to get, well, blank stares? It's an incredibly common frustration, and the reason it happens? It's probably not what you think. The real root of the problem is what I call the complexity trap. You know, we're often taught that being complex is a sign that you're intelligent, but when it comes to leadership, when it comes to having real influence, complexity is actually a massive barrier. I know this might sound completely backwards, but it is so critical to understand. The leader who hides behind a wall of complexity is usually afraid. Afraid of being misunderstood, maybe? Or worse, afraid of revealing that they don't truly understand the topic themselves. Real confidence? That shows up as clarity. Think about it for a second. We've all been in that meeting, right? The presentation is just jam-packed with acronyms, buzzwords, and details so dense they make your head spin. That kind of language is almost always a smokescreen. It's a crutch people use, consciously or not, to cover up a pretty shallow grasp of the core idea.
Now, to be fair, it isn't always intentional. Sometimes the problem is something called the expert's curse. This is a really tricky one. It's when your own deep knowledge actually becomes a liability. You've completely forgotten what it's like not to know all this stuff, which makes it nearly impossible to explain it to anyone outside of your little bubble. But this idea also points us toward the solution. The physicist Richard Feynman absolutely nailed it with this quote. See, the act of simplifying, it's not really for your audience, it's for you. It's the ultimate test of your own understanding. It forces you to get to the absolute, undeniable core of an idea.
So, how do we figure out where we are on this journey from complexity to clarity? Well, that brings us to our framework for today, the Master's Matrix. This is a dead simple tool to diagnose where you, and frankly, where your team, currently stand.
Okay, let's break this down. The matrix has two axes. Your level of understanding, is it shallow or deep? And your style of explanation, is it complex or simple? Now, everyone starts as a novice. Shallow understanding, simple explanation. That's totally fine. The real danger is becoming a charlatan who hides their shallow understanding behind a wall of jargon. Then there's the expert, the person with deep knowledge who's stuck in that expert's curse we talked about, unable to simplify. But the goal, the real sweet spot, is the top right, the master. This is the person who knows the subject so deeply they can make it crystal clear to anyone. So the whole thing really boils down to this distinction: the master versus the charlatan. One uses simplicity as the ultimate proof of their knowledge. The other uses complexity as a smokescreen to hide their ignorance. As a leader, your job is to spot that difference and to be the former.
Okay, theory's great, but let's get practical. Knowing the framework is one thing, but how do you actually lead with clarity? How do you move yourself and your team into that master quadrant?
There are really three key steps on this path to mastery. First, you have to distill your ideas down to their first principles. What are the absolute, fundamental truths you're building on? Second, find a powerful metaphor. A great analogy is like a magic trick. It can make a complex idea just click for someone instantly. And third, you have to use the Feynman test. Try to explain your strategy to a new hire or, your grandmother. If they don't get it, you still have work to do.
As a leader, you're the one who sets the culture. You need to make it totally clear that you expect simplicity. Challenge your team to find those clarifying metaphors. Encourage them to tell compelling stories that actually bring their data to life. And you have to drive this mantra home. If you can't explain your project simply, you don't truly own it yet. Period. All right, here's your Monday morning action. In your very next team meeting, I want you to put a jargon jar on the table. Every time someone uses a meaningless buzzword or an unnecessary acronym, they have to put $1 in the jar. It's fun, it's simple, and it is a fantastic way to immediately raise everyone's awareness and start building a new habit of clarity.
So, I'll just leave you with this one final thought to reflect on. Take a hard, honest look at your team and your culture. Who gets promoted? Whose ideas get funded? Are you, as a leader, accidentally rewarding the people who sound the most complex? Are you truly championing the people who bring the most clarity? Because the answer to that question, it's going to define the influence of your entire organization.